Oh, hi! My nickname is Egorixa. Today I came to the village. Let's see summer life of Petersburgers outside the city. Come on. My mother and I came to visit her friend for the weekend. She and her husband live in the village in the summer and in St. Petersburg the rest of the year. Many city dwellers go to the suburbs and villages for the summer. We have a long way to go, about 350 kilometers. The road is mostly single lane and is often under repair. Because of this, we spend a little over 6 hours on the road instead of 4.5. Upon arrival, the first thing you should do is change your clothes to something more comfortable that you don't mind getting dirty. The classic set is sweatpants and a t-shirt and sneakers or rubber boots on your feet. Let's start a normal day in the village from the very morning. First, you need to stretch well after a deep village sleep. Before you have breakfast, you need to feed the livestock. Our friends have a small chicken coop attached to their bathhouse, where they have hens, turkeys and a rooster. We cook food for them. We mix special dry food with grated zucchini. We pour the resulting dish into bowls and go let the birds out. The owners fenced off an area where the animals can walk freely during the day. 2 turkeys live in another separate area. They also need to be fed. The owner complains that sometimes a fox comes to them and drags the hens away if it is not caught in place and scared away. In the autumn, hawks fly in and attack the livestock from the air. It is not so easy to keep and protect animals from the encroachments of wild nature. After the hens have eaten and laid eggs, you can collect the eggs and go have breakfast yourself. We have many options for breakfast: boiled eggs, sandwiches, porridge. We drank tea with apple pie or, as we call it, shallot. I can responsibly declare that fruits, vegetables and meat products grown with your own hands are much tastier and more natural than those sold in our stores. After breakfast, while it isn't so hot outside, it's time to work in the vegetable garden. I didn't take pictures of this part, so I will just show the whole garden. Carrots, beets, various greens, zucchini and eggplants, cucumbers and tomatoes are grown in small beds. They need to be watered and cleared of weeds. The large plowed field is potato beds. We dug up several buckets of potatoes, which we ate for dinner. On the right along the fence there are berry bushes. Raspberries, red and black currants. Apple, pear and plum trees of several varieties are planted along the perimeter. Unfortunately, this year most of the harvest was eaten by caterpillars and the few surviving fruits were pecked by birds. The owner loves to work in the garden and vegetable garden, so in addition to vegetables, she grows beautiful flowers, elegant Canadian fir trees and even bush cypress. She managed to grow grapevines on the beams of the canopy. By the way, the grapes from it are very sweet. Here you can also wash your hands in an unusual way. We pour water into a container, and when we want to wash our hands, we open the tap. No centralized water supply system. The friends developed this plot of land themselves. In place of the vegetable garden there was an overgrown wasteland, and the only buildings were the old brick building in which we live. Now there is a bathhouse, a chicken coop, a vegetable garden, a barn and landscaping. The owner admits that she loves working with the land. But, unfortunately, despite all her efforts, this year the harvest suffered greatly from many natural disasters, unexpected night frosts, an invasion of caterpillars, and others. After working hard, we had lunch, and then I went for a walk around the nearby picturesque places with the granddaughter of my mother's friend. Across the country road from the fence of the plot, there is a cemetery. It's hidden among beautiful pine trees, behind which a breathtaking view of the fields and forest opens up. This is a typical cemetery that is usually built in our country. Cremation is rarely practiced outside of large cities. Mostly the deceased are buried in wooden coffins, and tombstones with the date of birth and death, as well as the name, are installed above them. For an additional fee, you can cut out a portrait of the deceased on the tombstone or insert a photo on enamel. The plots are enclosed with a fence. There is no single design code for the color and shape of the fences, so everyone arranges the grave as he wants. Often small tables and benches are built for those who came to visit the departed. Walking further along the road, spacious fields opened up before us. Having crossed the road, we leisurely strolled through large green meadows where hay had recently been collected and rolled into stacks. Once in the village, I realized what kind of city bustle we live in and how much noise there is in it. Breaking away from the constant information flow, the process of mental fermentation starts in the head. Along with this comes the realization that most of life consists of small joys and they should be appreciated. For example, enjoying in pleasure from the serene and fast flow of white scattered clouds across the blue August sky. Back home, it was time to fry meat for dinner, but for now we'll continue the short tour. This is a shed where my friend's husband keeps tools and various technical equipment. A lawnmower, trimmer, moped are waiting for their turn here, and there are also supplies of dry firewood for the bathhouse. Next to the shed, there is a toilet of the Ochka system. I don't think it's pleasant to discuss this, but as I said, there is no sewage system here. I didn't take pictures of the inside of the house, since this is the owner's personal space, which they wouldn't like to open to the general public. I cannot say that my audience of 4 subscribers is very wide, but such is the will of our friends. I will only say that it has 3 full-fledged large rooms, a small kitchen, a wide corridor, and a living room. At the back of the house there is a hatch to the cellar. It's cool there all year round, so it's used for long-term storage of crops. Swallows have found shelter under the roof of the house and have built about 5 nests. After dinner we went to the bathhouse to wash ourselves. In Russia we call it banya. This is probably one of the most widely known clichés associated with Russia. Men like to gather in the bathhouse, steam themselves and drink beer or strong alcohol, most often vodka. I do not understand this entertainment and don't really like steaming in the bathhouse. However, we have no other way to wash ourselves after a hot day at work. The bathhouse consists of an entrance hall for rest between visits, which we enter from the street. Then there is a door to the washing room, and from there a passage to the steam room, where the stove is located. Opposite the stove there are wooden benches built into the wall on which we sit while soaking up the heat of the humid air. I filmed the video in the morning, when the steam room had cooled down, since otherwise the camera lens would immediately fog up. The bathhouse retains heat perfectly, and even after a day it was noticeably warmer in it than in the house. The water tank is made in a single structure with the stove. After the stove is heated, it heats up to boiling temperature. Using a bucket and a ladle, I collect water for my morning wash. By mixing warm water and cold water from cans, I get a comfortable water temperature for hygienic procedures. On Sunday we helped with the gardening again and then went mushroom picking in the forest. I like to joke that mushrooms grow on store shelves. The forest disproved my misconceptions. It was the first time in my life that I saw such a large number of mushrooms in their natural habitat. We picked only mushrooms suitable for frying. Unfortunately, we left the rest of the mushrooms untouched, which can only be used for pickling, since we didn't have time to do it. You could say that we left the catch to avid mushroom pickers. Where we walk in the forest, there are quite a lot of people from neighboring villages, but how beautiful and untouched the forest is in these places. In the end, we picked about 3 kilograms of mushrooms, including chanterelles, porcini, and red mushrooms, birch boletes, and bellitas. This is where our little adventure of city dwellers in the village comes to an end. I like to go out into nature to such quiet villages, but I was born and raised in the city, so I can't imagine life without the advantages it gives. I would be more suited to a dacha vacation, which I will tell you about someday. Thank you very much for spending the summer weekend with me in the village and seeing how Petersburgers live there. If you liked the video, then please like it and write any comment. See you in new non-tourist walks around St. Petersburg, at interesting events, or in culinary adventures.